Hey, good morning, everyone. Corrie here coming in to do the weekly channel message. It is a little bit later. We are well, it's only Tuesday, I guess. Not that late. This weekend was a big weekend, and I was to be present during the birth of my second grandchild. So no apologies that I was not here. I was where I needed to be with love, and being with the people we love is so important. And so today's message and channeling this through is truly coming from that place, that awareness of what is important to us, what do we value the most, and that sense of, we often say safety. We say things like feeling safe, to feel loved, but ultimately we should value that authentic honesty, because honesty leaves no room for misinterpretation. So being honest with ourselves takes us away from suffering, takes us away from that place of, oh, I wonder, and from creating another narrative or story in our heads. So when we become authentically honest, we grow and we evolve and we become open. And honesty means that we have to be willing to sit and listen to the hard stuff, to ask the hard questions, and to be aware and open to receiving the response that we don't really want, but we need. And so there's a lot of answers that changes the projections of our futures or the path that we walk by making a choice to be open to asking the hard questions and listening to what we don't want to hear. And a huge part of the work that I do is I don't listen to human energy, because if I read minds or you read through that story, you're picking up what people want to hear. And people want you to say specific things, or they want you to, tell them what they want to happen in their lives. But what we want and what we need is two different things. And sometimes we don't know what we need because you're trying to fulfill the fantasies of the shadow. And when you're trying to fulfill the fantasies and the fantasy life of shadow, and many will say, I don't live in no fantasy land, I live in reality. But your reality is the reality that you create. So when you create your reality, you create it from your programming, your conditioning, and your needs being met, like your wants being met by calling them your needs. And so what it's doing, it is fulfilling. You want to fulfill those emotional needs that give you some sort of satisfaction and sense of safety. And sometimes where we believe we are safe is not a safe place for us. If you find yourself in a lot of anxiety, always having to defend yourself, being defensive, if you find yourself being mimicked and mocked, or judging, criticizing yourself and others, you may not be in such a safe place as what you think you are. You may not be so awakened and so aware or so open-minded as you think you are. And so there is this line. And once you know the power of the line of what it means to be weak, to walk the line of with humility into our weaknesses, is that you recognize that your weaknesses have the ability to be the strength, and they actually tie into the virtue of your strength. And when you allow yourself to then surrender to the weaknesses, it gives you the opportunity to allow in the honesty, the authenticity, that I call it, it's like the grandmother who just, she loves you, so she really would rather tell you the truth than to fluff it up. And so the God conscious energy, the divine energy, is not about fluffing it up. If you are fluffing up, if you get a message and then you turn it into a narrative that you go, oh yeah, but I think this is what it was, I think this, instead of, you've just gone so far away from the message, you've gone so far away from the gut feeling that now it is in the ego's desire. And that's not your reality. That's your reality. You have created it. And so the biggest thing that I tell everybody in when we're doing work in visualization is that if your God mind, if your mind is creating this, if your thoughts are being formed, if you're forcing something to happen, or you keep trying to return to a narrative of this beautiful euphoric feeling that you may have had and not even expected it, but you fell out because you went, oh my God, that just happened to me. Well, when you try to bring it back or recreate it, now it's you. And you are now the creator of that story. And you're the creator of that narrative. So this week's message is truly about, can we allow ourselves to step into a place of allowing true honesty to come forth? And when true honesty comes forth, it breaks down the false narratives and it weakens that foundation intentionally, so that it shows where there is weakness in the foundation of you, at the root of your stories, at the root of your existence, at the root of the so-called half-ass happiness you live or the half-ass joy you live, because that leads into a limited life. When we get told there's a storm coming, like a hurricane coming, and I do feel there's a hurricane coming, and there is a massive hurricane coming. I don't know where it's hitting. I don't know if it's just in that parliamental world where something is going to be so friggin' exposed, but there is a hurricane coming. And that hurricane, the narrative will be that, we will get the heads up, the warnings that it's on its way, that it's coming. And then there will be that after of, oh, but we hope that, maybe with time before it hits, it will be less than, it will be. But this feels like there is a trickster energy in it. And so it tricks by making itself appear as if it is not going to be as bad as what it is. But it gains momentum because the real truth behind it is that it is still a hurricane. And a hurricane is a hurricane. High winds, that spinning of air, the cold and hot air that meets, coming across water, coming across land, entering in from one space into another is still that's its reality. Its reality is, no matter how much you try to downplay a hurricane is a hurricane, and it will leave behind collateral damage. It can't be changed into a calm, sunny, beautiful day. It can't become something it is not. And that's where we are in our lives, is looking at the areas where you're trying to create something into something it's not, whether it is a relationship, whether it is your physical body that you need to start care for. There is hurricane energy. There is the truth that is looking us in the face. And the moment that we try to justify it, try to downplay it, try to make excuses for it, try to do all of those things, is the moment that it is going to pick up freaking momentum. And anything that you're now seeing, facing the truth that you have gained, the red flags that you have had, and you're neglecting to ignore them, and you're refusing to sit down and listen to the possibility that the narrative that you're telling yourself is not really the truth, then anything that comes after that is the collateral damage, because what was. You can't change a cat into a dog, right? You can't change a hurricane into a hot sunny day. You can sit there and have faith. You can get up and take action and be in a state of knowing that I can do my part. I can prepare for these storms. I can question the strength of it. I can question myself on what I need to do. How do I be prepared? And knowing that it's coming, and it is coming, it is facing us, and looking in from that perspective in that way says that, you know what, I'm open to the fact that this is the reality. There is truth to it. We have seen it go down before. It's not like previous. So we don't know exactly how it will play out, because we don't know the endings. We like to think we know the endings. We like to think that we know what's on the other side. And so what's on the other side of this story is the possibility that You may end up being stronger because you became truly aware of your weaknesses, that you are not greater than, you're not more than. And if you're in a relationship with somebody who has cheated on every single person they have ever been with, and that you believe that you are the exception, and you're going to convince yourself of that narrative, and now you've got that gut feeling, and you don't want that hurricane to come. You don't want that real truth to come. But in the meantime, you continue to live in the lies, and you wonder why you feel anxious, why you're not well. And then you are apologetic that you seem like you're crazy, right? Because you are accepting the lies and telling yourself those truths. Be aware. Now, this could be at work. This could be anywhere, not just a relationship this week. This could be in our whole world and in our whole lives. This could be us looking in politically. This could be looking in and really, truly gaining the new perspective and looking at the way that it is. Like if we were to look at a representative in a political party, and you can tell yourself all the narrative in the world that I know they're doing what's best for me. But now you've also heard the trickle effect, the trickle of all the other things, right? And so you can gain your truth, but do you personally know this person? Do you have a personal relationship with them? Have they actually been personally taking care of you? No. So when things do go sideways, why were you so quick to defend them and not to care for you? Not to have an open mind, to be open to taking care of you before you were in such defense of that energy. So being aware of that this week, we are getting like major eye openers. So wherever there is something that is weakening your foundation this week, and I feel like for the rest of this month, and coming especially into like Gemini season, because the shift is going to happen during that Gemini season. But there is a massive shift that is taking place, and a massive awareness where we cannot deny having to look at some of the how we've been fooled, how we've been tricked, how we've let ourselves be fooled, let ourselves be tricked, how we try to change a hurricane into something else. There is a real, honest, authentic truth that brings us home so that we can not be so caught in these mind stories, and that we can see things in a new light. I am this, but I can create a beautiful life by still allowing myself to see this, to know this about myself. Because if I can accept this of myself, if I can accept that about me, then I also have a bigger heart for accepting these things within others. But if I'm going to allow myself to be living angry, resentful, in denial, those things, then things like inflammation in the body, joint pain, sinuses, lung issues, all of those things will rise. Your back, carrying those burdens, all of those things, but also then put that in your material world, your finances, your state of being, your state of well-being, your whole self, your relationship with everything within your life is affected. So changing that this week, becoming aware of that, acknowledging it, and even asking yourself the hard questions of, where am I creating the drama, the hurricanes in my life? What have I not seen? And knowing that you're not really your past, because your past is not really alive, but the after effects is all of that, is the collateral damage that we didn't clean up, that we didn't look at, that we didn't see, and then we tried to bury it underneath the rugs. So everything is coming up and out. The storms are brewing and coming in, and there is a tide of change that is taking place. And allowing those tides of change to take place, allowing it to flow through, because it is happening with or without, and we can deny it, we cannot look at it. You can do whatever you want, it's your life, you have free will. But the more willing that we sit in our weaknesses and we allow ourselves to know that over that line, over that sense of confidence, that is a confidence in our shadow self of, I got this, I can do this, I can be in control. Well, beyond that is divine confidence. It is the confidence in knowing that we have your back. We are supporting your highest good, not your ego. We are supporting what is for the highest good, not for your shadow. And so the essence of you trying to create that narrative, that story, we can't support that because we can see beyond that. And that's how the divine, that's how the spirit guides do speak. They speak from, they come from with wisdom from that place. We cannot support your narrative to create false reality, to be inspired by false light, to live in false light, to live in relationship to that false relationship that is not really in relationship to the soul connection. Because as long as there's a nagging gut feeling, as long as you're sneaking and trying to find something, you know something is wrong. And so to be willing to open the books, be willing to sit and listen and see and let it all be exposed. And to know that, you know, not to be so hard on yourself, but this is all happening so that we can strengthen our foundation, because our foundation here on earth, our connection with humanity has to have a much stronger foundation. Many of those empires, many are built on weak foundations, and they're built on lies and half-assed truth. This is honesty, authenticity, and that is what true unconditional love is created with. That is how the divine connects us to that virtuous self. So we are rising the vibration. We are allowing ourselves to use the energy from the tornado energy or from the hurricane energy. We're allowing ourselves to use this energy to charge us, to inspire us, to give us the strength that we don't know we have. It is the divine strength to be able to do the things that we didn't think we could do, to have the strength and the courage to know that we can be weak and that we can ask for guidance, we can ask for support, but we have to be willing to listen, and we have to be willing to accept in order to make the changes that we need to make. Much love. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you again very soon. Mwah. Bye-bye. Hey, one last thing. I have several new programs coming up. The end of May, there is the Rainbow Connection. Love to have you in that weekend class. There is a psychic awareness class coming up in June. And then I also have some Goddess Within classes, which is about true confidence, self-esteem. And those are Sunday morning classes. I call those my come to church with me. And coming to church is coming home to you, coming home to that heart of yours and knowing that you are worth putting the work into. Go to CorrieThorne.com, check it out. Please subscribe and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also hit the notification button so that you'll know when these videos become available. Much love. Bye-bye.